Good evening, guys, and happy Thursday to all of your sunshiny faces. Oh my goodness, guys. Today, I think I mentioned to you guys in yesterday's vlog how, first off, things are just a little bit weirder this week, but I realized this is going to be the next, like, 3 weeks, I think, at least. Most of the rest of July, I believe. There is a football scrimmage that is on Thursday. I think all of them are at the high school, so I don't have to worry about going to a different school or anything like that. But they have the high school scrimmage football games, and I normally do the end zone camera for the like Friday night high school football games I did all of last year. If you guys heard me talk about any of this at all from last year, I was telling you guys how, like, at the very few games at the very beginning was like things were going pretty good, decent. It was a little bit of a learning curve. Like, I needed to know like where to keep the camera, you know, like what I was supposed to be recording, like that kind of stuff. And like that's what I thought. Like, I went in one day so that they could like explain to me, like show me like that kind of stuff. And they did, but just like how to use the thing. They're like, this is how you zoom in, this is how you zoom out. Like, don't worry, you don't have to start and stop it to record. Like, it just is constantly going. You know, like all that, right? But I thought that they were gonna tell me like, oh, like, you know, you need to watch for like this, or like don't, you know, if there's like wide receivers lined up really far away, don't bother getting them in the frame, you know, like that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was what I struggled with a little bit last year, was just like where to keep the camera, how tight do I keep it, how wide do I keep it, like that kind of stuff. And at the end of the year, I hope that like I got it down for the most part. I never heard, like I said, too much of anybody being like, oh, like that was, you know, not good, or, you know, you didn't do that well or something like that. The problem was that at the end of the year, the cameras were like, it didn't want to work, it didn't want to like move, it would turn off randomly, the cord, there was like a problem. And I said last year, like, it's like Pandora's box. As soon as I get close to this camera, it starts malfunctioning and like all this kind of stuff happens. And it wasn't until like the first maybe 3 or so games into the season that all of a sudden, or maybe a little bit more into the season, like closer to halfway through, but I think they play 9 games, so maybe like after the first 4 games or so, all of a sudden these problems started occurring. And then they also had an extra game because they made it to playoffs last year, so it was like, I think 10 games. I think that's how many they play. Anyways, so like I said, had all these problems. The very last game of the season though, for the playoff game, everything was good. I was completely fine. The only problem was is that it rained during the game, and that was a little bit of a problem because I think at some point we might have had to take the camera down, or we were going to, because we can't leave the camera, like the electric, you know, like all running through there and stuff like that. Like, we had to take it down, I think, because it was raining so bad. So anyways, but I don't remember, I mean, maybe they put it back up real quick or something like that, but anyways, like I said, I had a lot of problems, and like it didn't seem like it was my fault. Sometimes it would just be random things. I had like a few different coaches. Like, there's one that's like, I think like an IT kind of, like, I don't know if he's IT teacher or works in the IT department too, maybe at the high school or something like that, but very familiar with most of this stuff. And then there's like 2 other coaches that are like also very familiar with like the way that like all of the stuff works. Like, they send the signal to like the iPad and the sideline stuff and like everything like that. So anyways, everything, you know, like I said, that last game of the season was going so well, and I was like, yay, hopefully going into this season, you know, everything will work really well. Well, everything worked fine. I honestly, I don't know, and I'm waiting, because like Jack and my dad are part of like a coaches group, you know, like chat. I keep waiting for somebody to be like, we had no end zone camera footage or something like that, because the problem is that I have no clue if anything actually got recorded, because it was just a scrimmage. So again, not quite as important. And like the coach at the end kind of reiterated this to me. He's like, don't worry, like they also had like drone footage, and they had like the camera like up in the booth like footage too. So they had like 3 angles covered. So I feel like if mine didn't work, although I hope that it did, it's not like the worst thing in the world. They still had footage. Difficulty that I was facing, which they had figured this out at the beginning and kind of thought that this was gonna work, but I don't know if it did, because by the end, like I said, I don't know. Because of what I figured out at the end. So let me paint you guys a little picture. This camera again too, it's like really tall. Like it's, you know, almost as tall as like the goalpost sort of. It gets, you know, like they put it up on this like a tripod kind of thing. It goes all the way up into the sky. Like I said, it's really, really tall. So, and then I sit down at the bottom with the little screen and I can manipulate, you know, the camera zooms in, zooms out, rotates that around and that kind of stuff, right? However, on the screen, which they were trying to figure out how to get it to work, it won't tell me if it's recording or not. So what they normally do is they just click record and it sends the footage automatically like to like the, you know, the sidelines and to the booth and stuff like that. It gets recorded through like a football program, like a huddle, you know, kind of thing. So they don't have that out today because it's just a scrimmage. And so they, again too, like they're not using that. So they were like, if you can just cut in between every single play so that they can, you know, record, you know, just the plays and then not have the not plays being recorded, you know, like when they're in the huddle, like that kind of stuff. Also too, because they would switch, they'd do like 10 minutes like offense and switch 10 minutes defense, you know, and switch off with this other school. So, you know, their team would be on offense and we'd be on defense and then we'd switch the other way. So, originally, like I said, they had asked me to just do it, like, cut in between every single segment, like every single play. And I was like, okay, sure, you know, not a problem. I can do that. Well, on the screen that I can see nothing that says it's being recorded. There's no light that's flashing. There's nothing that's telling me the camera is currently recording right now, right? Like right now on my screen, there's a little record thing with a little red light on there and there's even time that's ticking down, right? So I know that right now my camera is recording. But on the screen that I have in front of me, it says none of that. And they're trying, like, and it would pop up for maybe like a second. They couldn't figure out how to get it from the information that's on the camera up, you know, however tall it is, all the way back down to me on the ground. So I have no clue when it's being turned on and turned off. So they were like, okay, well, don't record every single play, just do it for like the whole series, so the whole like 10 minutes while the one side, you know, is out there. And I was like, okay, that should work, you know. And they're like, just hit the button and then stop it again. But I still have no clue if I can tell whether or not it's actually being recorded or not from where I am. Except for when you hit the buttons, it will just, like, any buttons though on this little thing, it just turns green for like a split second when you hit the button. So even when I'm zooming in and zooming out, it turns green for like a split second. Well, at some point I look and I was like, I hit the record button to like start again and I was like, I don't know if that turned green or not. And also too, I'm like thinking, because the sun is like blaring at me and I can't tell, like, because it's kind of like faded, like you can't see the light really well because the sun either. And I was like, maybe I just blinked, or maybe, like, you know, again too, I'm like, you know, the sun, whatever, like just kind of, it faded out and I couldn't really see it. And I'm like, okay, well, hopefully though, it wasn't like I didn't hit the button hard enough or something like that for it to not work. But like, I wasn't having any problems with like the other buttons, not like, you know, not pressing it hard enough, it wasn't working. So I was like, well, I don't want to hit it again and then it not start. And like, but I was watching like every single time to make sure this light's like blinking on and off whenever I hit start and stop. And so by the end, the camera battery had died twice. So the other thing too is that I know the 2 times the camera battery died, I know that I started it, stopped it, and I saw the light every single time. Then, though, I think at the very end when they ended up replacing the battery, I don't know if they ended up starting the like it recording from the camera and not from my little button that I hold on the little, you know, pad, whether or not that happened. Because by the end of it, like I said, I am diligently watching this thing. I'm like, okay, we stopped, we started, and I think it only went like another like 20 minutes after that or something. It comes back down, the one coach is like, oh, it's still recording. And I was like, please tell me that I did not do it opposite, like he had turned it on when he put it back up, and then I turned it off as soon as like it was up in the air and recording again. Because honestly, if that's the case, then I don't know that I was on point with like the on off. And like I said, there's no way for me to know. And so I'm waiting for like Jack to get a text message or my dad to get a text message. It's like, we had no end zone camera footage at all. And I feel like so bad because they were like, oh yeah, like, you know, can you please ask your daughter to come and, you know, record for the, you know, the scrimmage game and stuff like that. Like, it'd be awesome to get footage. I have no clue if they got any footage, and I feel so insanely bad, but like I had no clue if it was working, or like I said, like if they turned it on when they put it up, so now I'm actually turning it off. So I could have just gotten huddle plays, like when they're in the huddle or like when they're breaking to get water, instead of actually recording the football plays. So I have no clue, and I'm so scared because like I said, it's the thing was too, at the beginning, the coach was like, oh well, do you want me to get the iPad so that she can just use that so that she can actually see when it's on and off? And they were like, we don't have enough time to like set it up and everything like that. They're like, just like, you know, hit it on and off. And the other thing too is that the camera does make a little noise when it turns on, and there was like a point when I could hear it. There's so many trains near the high school, and there's so much traffic and like planes and stuff like that. It's like, and this thing is super high up in the sky. Like, I mean, it's insanely hard to hear. And I have really, really good hearing, but I could not hear that like at all, especially if there's other noise around. So, you know, like I said, I had no clue if it was or not, but those were like my two cues of like what I could be trying to do, is just make sure that I've got it timed out where like start it, stop it, start it, stop it thing, and make sure, hopefully it worked. But also too, to try and listen to it. And I don't know if I could, I mean, I couldn't hear it most of the time. And they even said that too. They're like, she's not gonna be able to hear it when it's up there. So they were gonna, like I said, give me like the iPad or, you know, like the other thing that they end up using. But they were like, oh, you know, it's like too late to get it all set up. But like the coach again too, at the end of the game, he reassured me. He's like, don't worry, we'll have the iPad for you like next week and everything like that. And I was like, I feel so bad though if I seriously just recorded like nonsense, like them getting water and them like huddling up and stuff like that. I was like, and at the end, like them high-fiving, like, you know, and stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, I've been stressing over that. Like I said, there wasn't much that I could do because I didn't know for sure exactly what was happening. But, you know, like there was no way for me to double check that like everything's working and stuff like that. And, you know, and the camera's recording good and stuff like that, you know, because like if anything ever happened to my camera on the, like when the actual game's going on, they will automatically get a signal. Like they'll be able to see on their iPad, like, oh, it's not recording. Like, you know, and then they send somebody over to come and fix it for me. You know, or I can like text somebody like my dad or one of the other coaches or whatever and be like, yeah, there's like said the battery died, you know, something, whatever. But normally during the games, somebody will be able to see like, oh, end zone camera's out, and then they'll know. But like as of today, because I was just kind of like a camera and a screen, nobody else is looking at it. I don't know. They don't know. Nobody knows. And so, yeah, we're just gonna wait and see if they got any footage or not. And I guess on next Thursday, if they don't, I'm just gonna have to be like, I am so sorry. There wasn't much way for me to know. But anyways, I got up super early today because we had to leave it around 3-ish. I was planning on, I think my dad got home at about 3, so we left sometime after that. We didn't get home until close to 9 o'clock. So it was like 6 hours. We weren't outside for the whole time. And the game was only, or, you know, scrimmage was only like 2 maybe hours at the very most, an hour and a half or something. And it was actually getting cold at the end of the day, which I guess was kind of nice, so it wasn't super hot out. And I did put sunscreen on and everything like that ahead of time. But I was up at 9 o'clock this morning because I was like, I want to have enough time in my day to be able to get stuff done, because I was like, I figured I'll be gone for most of, you know, the evening and stuff like that. So I did, but I think I fell asleep last night at like, I don't even know. I think I got like 5 hours of sleep last night, maybe. I fell asleep so late. I like couldn't fall asleep. So anyways, now I'm super tired, but also like I want to just be able to like watch something on TV or like just do something and try and like calm myself down after like today. I just want to be able to do something relaxing, but I'm also like super tired, but I feel like I'm not going to be able to fall asleep. So I don't know what to do. And I am also, like I said, insanely tired, but I don't really want to go to sleep because I was like, I just want to kind of relax when I get home and be able to do something, but like I'm so tired. It's still so early, and like I just barely finished eating dinner, and I also have a headache, and like Oh, goodness, guys. Today was just not my day at all. But, like I said, everything could have gone perfectly fine. And they could have gotten all the footage, or they could have gotten absolutely nothing. I have no clue. We will have to wait and find out. But anyways, guys, yeah, that's why I don't have like a Tony's and Caputo's haul, because my dad went, I don't know if it was last week, but lately he's been going on Thursdays. But me and him are going to go to Meijer tomorrow, and then he's going to go to Tony's and Caputo's on Saturday, but me and my mom have my cousin's bridal shower to go to. So then on Sunday we're gonna go to Jewel, so that's kind of the switched up plan for this week. And we didn't go, me and my mom didn't go on Wednesday to Meijer because the car was in the shop. So there's just been a lot going on, and like, you know, like I said, I'm stressed out about this whole thing today. But that's what I said. It's like, get me near that camera, and it's like Pandora's box. Don't know what is happening, don't know what is going on, don't, you know, like we had also this really weird thing that was like some memory card error that I've never seen before ever. But I think because, again, too, they weren't doing it, like they weren't like streaming the game to like their iPads. It was all being recorded on like a memory card, and so all of a sudden I'm like recording, everything's going good. They had also just switched out the battery recently, like it was only 10-20 minutes in maybe, and then all of a sudden it just stops, and it's like, oh, there's a problem with the memory card. Not like it was full, but like it just, I don't, weird like thing, didn't want to, I don't know, it was stressful. And it's like I said, it always happens to me. Like they always, all the other cameras are always working, all the other stuff is always working. The drone was good today, like the battery, you know, like Jack was flying the drone today and stuff like that. And like I said, it's not that big of a deal. They do have other, you know, camera angles and stuff like that. It just stinks. Like they brought me out there, they got the whole thing set up, you know, and everything like that, and then to just not get any footage, it was like I didn't actually, you know, technically do anything today if they didn't get anything. But like I said, it should work out hopefully better next week, and again, hopefully no other weird problems then happen. It's like all of a sudden nothing's like working for some other reason. You know, it's like anytime I get close to that camera, and it's like I said, only and always that camera. They don't have problems with the other cameras. Those ones all work fine. It's my camera. It's always my camera. But like, I will say today maybe it was a little user error. Most of the time it's never user error. It's always like, for some reason this thing just didn't work. You know, like for some reason there's a memory card error. Like, I don't know why. I had nothing to do with that. And I feel like it like makes me look like I'm intentionally like, not intentionally doing it, but like I'm hitting buttons that I shouldn't be pressing or something like that. And I'm like, I'm not. I literally have not been like accidentally messing with it or purposefully or anything like that. But like, it always happens to me. I swear, guys. Anyways, I'm gonna take a shower and get to bed. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see y'all versus Jenny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.